Hi there, Rissy here with another episode of Rissy's Room. And again, I am reading this book in partnership with the Audubon Naturalist Society. So after I'm done reading the book, you're gonna stay tuned because Gina's gonna come on and she's gonna ask you some questions about this book. I'm not gonna give you a hint, so you're gonna have to pay attention to all the details. But don't worry, you can always stop the video and rewind or go back and find out what the answers are. So there's no test at the end. All right, so the book today is called All the Way to the Ocean. It is written by Joel Harper, illustrated by Mark Supasta. All right, and because we're partnering with Audubon Naturalist Society, our theme this winter, other than being cold, is garbage. So remember, the last book we read together was called Where Does Our Garbage Go? Well, something tells me it goes all the way to the ocean. I mean, that's the name of the book. So let's find out what this book is all about. All right, are you ready to learn about Isaac and his best friend James? Here we go. Every day, Isaac and his best friend James ride their skateboards home from school. "Should we hang out at your house or mine?" asked Isaac. "Let's go to my house. My mom went shopping and bought lots of good food," said James. "Want a piece of candy?" "Sure," said James. "Hey, what are you doing?" asked Isaac. "Did you just drop your paper into the storm drain?" "Yeah, what's the big deal?" asked James. "It's a big deal because those drains go all the way to the ocean, just like the sign says." "What do you think happens when our trash ends up in the ocean?" asked Isaac. "I don't know. What?" asked James. "The plants and animals get really sick, that's what." "Look at all that trash that's already in there," cried Isaac. "Plastic bags, cigarette butts, broken glass, bottle caps, plastic soda can holders, and now your candy wrapper. There's even an old shoe down there. And guess what? As soon as it rains, all that trash goes straight to the ocean." "How do you know?" asked James. "'Cause I read about it in National Geographic Kids." "Are you sure that stuff goes all the way to the ocean?" asked James. "I'm positive," said Isaac. "Let's ask my mom when we get home. She's super smart." "She's not smarter than National Geographic," said Isaac. "Yes, she is," insisted James. "Hey, Mom, do the storm drains around town go all the way to the ocean?" asked James. "They sure do," she replied. "I told you," said Isaac. "Why do you ask, honey?" Isaac jumped in and said, "Because James threw trash in the storm drain on the way home from school. He didn't know that they drain all the way to the ocean." "Isaac is right about the storm drains," said James's mother. "Just think about all the harmful things that could happen when our trash ends up in the ocean. All kinds of marine life are getting sick and their homes are becoming polluted. Sometimes they get stuck in our garbage." "Do all storm drains go to the ocean?" "Yes, they do," said his mother. "That's why it is important to remember not to throw trash on the ground. Because when it rains, harmful pollutants like foam cups, fast food wrappers, motor oil, and even pet waste wash into storm drains and run down to lakes, rivers, and then the..." "I saw someone reach out of their car and dump out their entire ashtray full of cigarette butts into the gutter by school one day," said James. "I bet a lot of them ended up in the ocean." "You're right, Isaac," said James's mother. "Fish and birds often mistake cigarette butts and many other kinds of garbage for food. When they eat them, they get sick. Sometimes sea turtles will eat plastic bags thinking they're jellyfish. Jellyfish make a great lunch for sea turtles, but plastic bags don't." Mom, can our drinking water get polluted too? Asked James. Yes, it sure can, James. Runoff from storm drains can harm drinking water and affect recreational areas. Sometimes beaches have to be closed because the water is too dirty to swim in. Yeah, I know, said Isaac. My brother was mad last weekend because he couldn't go surfing at his favorite spot. He said the beach was closed because of pollution. Pollution sure causes a lot of problems. Why do people litter so much? That's a good question, Isaac. Maybe some people aren't aware of the harmful effects pollution has on the environment. Or maybe they think that the ocean is so big that it has room for all of our trash. Sadly, that's not true. The ocean has more life in it than any other ecosystem on Earth, and we need to take better care of it. Hey, Isaac, you know all those gutters by school? Asked James. Yeah, said Isaac. I always see trash in them. Let's ask our teacher if our class can pick up trash around the school so it doesn't end up in the storm drains, said James. Good idea! Maybe the whole school can pitch in. There's a lot of trash, said Isaac. James and Isaac's teacher thought a schoolyard cleanup was a great idea. After their classmates learned about storm drain pollution, they wanted to help clean up their environment. Many of the students even picked up garbage around their own neighborhoods. What are some of the things you and your friends and family can do in your community to help prevent storm drain pollution? I like to go like this when I'm thinking. I wonder, what are some things that you could do? I'll tell you one thing that I do. In my community, I do something called plogging. Plogging is just a fancy word to say picking up trash when you bike or hike or walk or run. So whenever I'm in my community walking around, I make sure that I have a bag with me and I have those trash picker-uppers so that I can pick up trash around my community. What's something you can do? I'd love to hear about it. And guess what? Stay tuned and make sure you listen to Gina, because she's going to ask you some questions and also give you some more tips on things that you can do in your community. All right, Gina, I'm passing this book to you, all the way to the ocean.
Thank you, Reese. All the Way to the Ocean is such a great book. Thank you for sharing it with us. Hi, friends. This is Gina from the Audubon Naturalist Society, and we are gonna answer some questions based on what we've learned today. What happens to litter when it gets to the storm drain? When it rains, all the trash and pollution in our neighborhoods gets washed away into the storm drains. From there, it flows into our nearest creek. And then the creeks will flow to a river and empty into the ocean. Have you noticed that after it rains, everything looks cleaner outside? That's because all that pollution has been taken to our rivers. It hasn't magically disappeared. How is trash pollution affecting animals in the ocean? All kinds of aquatic animals are being harmed by trash pollution. Some animals get entangled in trash. Thousands of dolphins die each year entangled in discarded fishing nets. Others eat that trash thinking it's food, and when they do that, they do not get any nutrition and then they get sick. Guess what is the biggest ocean pollutant? About 80% of the trash found in the ocean is plastic. Plastic doesn't break down like organic waste does, but it turns into microplastics, which is then easily mistaken by fish as food. What can you do to prevent storm drain pollution? We need to make sure that our neighborhood parks and streets and front yards and backyards are clean and free of litter. Some other ideas are participate of schoolyard and park cleanups. Do not litter. Clean up after your dog. Cut the loops. Animals can get caught in loops like plastic rings, ear loops in masks, rubber bands. So before putting these products in the trash, make sure to cut those loops with a pair of scissors. Something we can do that might not seem that obvious is be more careful if we have a party or a celebration in a park. Let's not use balloons, glitter, or confetti. Those products can easily get into our streams. Did you know that some storm drains get painted like this? This is called storm drain art. Let's go and find some. Lots of cities use art to educate communities about the connection between storm drains and our waterways. So now, whenever you go for a walk, keep an eye out for some of these and try to count how many you can find. Have fun and remember to keep our water clean. See you next time.